Mike, I'm wearing a ski cap because this is the appropriate attire for the last couple of Penn State games, especially last weekend. The Snow Bowl,
Absolutely, yeah. It was pretty rough.
They played pretty well against the Golden Gophers, didn't they?
I thought it was their best performance of the year. I think Minnesota's a decent team. And they just completely took them out of their game offensively. Obviously, a shutout. And Penn State's getting better. I think it's that simple. I think kids that had not played a lot before this year are getting comfortable, confident, know what they're doing out there. They're getting healthy at some key spots. And, it's about time. They should be getting better, and they are.
They were favored by, 17.5 going in. They win the game, beat the spread. I'm not trying to advocate gambling here, but what I'm looking at is we thought that was too much of a spread. This is going to be a closer game. Minnesota had played some good teams. What it says to me is Penn State, as you're saying, is getting better, and they're stepping up and playing the way they're supposed to be playing. They're supposed to beat a Minnesota, and they're doing it.
Yeah, and again, the shutout I think was surprising. Having Sean Lee back in the lineup, linebacker, a senior, has been out for captain, one of the best linebackers in the country. He's been out for 3 weeks with a sprained knee. Played about 20 snaps on Saturday and did fine. And the other one is Navarro Bowman, the other linebacker, who's had this groin injury that's been nagging since before the season started. Now he looks like he's pretty much fully over that. And I even talked to him a little bit on Saturday after the game, and he said, "Yeah, I'm 100%." And he looked it. He looked very explosive. He was just a monster out there on Saturday.
You put those two out there and Josh Hall in the middle. How good can this defense be?
I think their front seven can be one of the best in the country. You got it with a tackle like Jared Odrick from Lebanon, who's just a terrific player, and I think Hall is an underrated kid. He showed some moments even in pass coverage, which he supposedly is not athletic enough to do. I thought he did that pretty well on Saturday. So the defensive front seven is really going to be the guts of this team and is going to take them as far as they can go. But all the areas are getting a little better, too.
A.J. Wallace, I thought, played great, covering Minnesota had one big weapon. It was a receiver, and A.J. Wallace was sort of locked down on him.
Wallace had not been starting. They started him specifically to match up with his receiver because he's a little taller than the kid who, Knowledge Timmons, who is the other cornerback who had been starting on that side. And he played probably the best game of his career. In fact, Minnesota was down on the 1-inch line, and he made a phenomenal play to run down a guy on a sweep and stop him. An inch short. Of course, Minnesota gets another inch and they cover the point spread. So I'm not sure that whole thing isn't a little bit deceptive. But, yeah, Penn State's starting to figure it out.
Let me ask you about the receivers. I think we've seen some guys really emerging there. This week it was Moy, correct?
Derek Moy, yeah.
And we've had Chaz Powell in there. That's another unit that's really starting to come on into their own as well.
Yeah, I think those three, Powell, Moy, and Graham Zug from Manheim Central, are three guys that complement each other really well. Zug is kind of that possession receiver, and Powell and Moy are both guys that can make big plays, athletic enough to make big plays. And Moy made a phenomenal catch on the sideline in the end zone last week. That was an area that a lot of people thought was going to be a weakness for Penn State. It has not turned out to be.
Michigan this weekend. Can the Knights beat them 2 years in a row? They beat them last year at home. This one's in Ann Arbor. What do you think about Michigan?
I think they can. They'll probably be a slight favorite, but this is a much different animal this year. Michigan's a better team, better program. I think more suited to their coach. I think they've bought into Rich Rodriguez, who is controversial. I mean, it's a lot to buy into with the whole package with Rich. And also they'll be playing at Michigan at the Big House, which is a much different animal than last year at Penn State. Tough challenge for Penn State, but I think it's a winnable game. And if they have aspirations, BCS, conference championship, they have to win it.